of Trustees. Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We could have the reading of the mission and visions.
Richmond Community Schools guide students on pathways of learning to a future of limitless possibilities.
The vision statement of Richmond Community Schools is a community nurturing mind, body, and spirit to prepare students for lives of choice, purpose, and service.
Dr. Wright, moving on to item 2, celebrations.
President Weber, trustees, cabinet, as well as our amazing faculty staff, students, and stakeholders in the crowd. I want to ask that Mrs. Downson, Senior, our Director of Student Support, approach the podium to share exactly who we are celebrating this evening and also highlight some of the successes of Richmond Community Schools. Santini.
Okay, good morning, board members and those in attendance this evening. We are excited to celebrate some of our highest achieving students this evening. These students that we're recognizing scored perfect scores on the iRead assessment this spring. And as you know, this year we also tested our second grade students. So not only do we have third grade students that scored perfect scores, we also have second grade students. So congratulations to these students. We are going to have them come up one at a time and stand in front of the podium. So from Charles this evening, I'll first introduce Mrs. Phillips, the principal of Charles Elementary School. And we have 7 students that had perfect scores at Charles. So we'll start with Jackson Heyman. Jackson is a 3rd grader. Congratulations, Jackson.
Jackson, come here, stand around this tape.
See that line? Stand on that line. Turn around and face that way. There we go. Good job.
No pressure. Let's go over here for everybody.
Yes.
Owen is also a 3rd grader. Next up is Taylor Walton. And we had one student that could not be here this evening who's in 3rd grade, and that is Mia Bella Isaacs. And so those are our 3rd graders from Charles. Now we'll transition to our 2nd graders. Again, this is the first time that these students took this assessment. But before I pull up the 2nd graders, I believe we have a 2nd grade teacher here this evening from Charles. So Mrs. Jones, come on up. She is one of the teachers of these students. No, there's a lot of stress when you're taking a standardized assessment, not only on the student, but the teacher. And so we appreciate everything that you do to prepare your students. So thank you for being here this evening. In 2nd grade, we have Aubrey Combs. Oh, you guys And we have also in 2nd grade, Paxton Peggy. Now we're both of these 2nd grade students from your class, Mr. Jones. This evening we have one other 2nd grade from Charles that could not be here, and that is Azaden Polly. So congratulations.
Well done.
Attorney Cross made a good point to reference that our 2nd grade and 3rd grade students took the same assessment. So it was a way for us to get some benchline data. And if they did not pass, they can take it again next year. So again, they took the same assessment and scored perfect scores. So congratulations to those Charles Chargers. Now we're moving on to our Fairview Lions. So this evening we have Principal Mrs. Service. Have her come up first. And then we also have our teacher here this evening, and this is the third grade teacher, Miss Washington. So Miss Washington, come on up. And this evening we are recognizing third grader Alakai Myers. Do a high five handshake. Start with your teacher first. High five. Congratulations. Yeah, come up here so everyone can see the camera. Perfect. One moment, let me get a picture. Okay, I'll go first. Congrats. All right, next is Westview. Westview Hornets. We have Mr. Jones.
He's a ball.
And this evening from Westview, we are recognizing second grader Oscar Bruns. I think you should go up there, Mr. Jones. You got camera with you.
Yeah.
Great hat.
Damien, come on up if you want. Come on.
And our last recognition this evening is from Hibbert, so Mrs. Watermilk is here. And we also have two of our teachers, Miss Wise and Mrs. Van Millsworth. So and this evening from Hibbert in third grade, we are recognizing Nadia Bakshi. Oh, okay, here we go. There you go. Nice job. Congratulations, and we'll have you go stand in front of the camera so everyone can see you.
And the teachers as well, they cannot.
There you go.
They try.
Put you in the middle. And again, we want to celebrate these 10 students with high achievement that performed extremely well on the IRE3. So again, congratulations and thank you for being here this evening.
Listen, I'm going to direct a question to Mr. Bruns out there. The young man who was celebrated, his relationship to you?
That's my nephew.
Okay. Young man, would you stand up? Your grandmother was one of my favorite teachers of all time. I just want to let you know that. So continue on the path that you are, because, you know, with your grandmother, your uncle, and everybody else, you're going to make some excellent headways in life, okay? But she was always one of my favorite teachers.
Just to pass the word, a bunch of them have left already, but I would love to have some book recommendations from our top readers. And because I think Jeff and I would like to see if we can understand it.
So, to a student of your favorite book, and if you were to tell the board members to go out and get a book,
Yeah.
what book might it be? Stand up and tell us if you can think of
You
one.
got one.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
I read that.
Boxcar Children.
Boxcar Children.
Oh, yes.
World War II.
Oh,
Read it.
Looking at the back.
history.
Oh wait, hold on, I had two. I want to make sure we get them both. Tops and bottoms. And Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Mm.
Go we go.
All right.
It's ready.
Okay. We get something to
Thank
know.
you.
One more here, it looks like. Hold on.
Okay.
Goosebumps.
Oh, Goosebumps.
which were classics.
Always
Mr.
fun.
Sonsini, thank you so very much to our faculty and staff. Again, extreme kudos to you all in preparing our youngsters. If the parents, and I see the ones that are trying to leave, if all the parents could just stand up and take a bow for also.
Yeah.
As we are well aware, oftentimes successful students are supported by very involved parents and dedicated and committed educators through and through. And so, of the accolades and awards and acknowledgments that have been had this evening, it definitely could not be done without our faculty, staff, parents, guardians, stakeholders, and leadership throughout the district. And so, again, kudos, amazing job, and we are definitely Richmond. So, thank you all for enlightening us this evening.
Thank you, President Webb. All right, moving on to item 3, public commentary. Mrs. Claypool, did you have a number of people signed up? Give the crowd a moment to disperse.
Rather remarkable when you think about the fact that second graders were perfect.
There were how many? 4 or 5, right?
Three of them.
Well,
3 second graders, and no, they do not. Any second grader that passed IRE 3 this year will not be bombarded with that assessment for next year. And so, and again, it speaks volumes.
how will they academically grow if they don't have more assessments to take? Sorry.
Don't touch that one.
Oh, now you're starting to sound like.
All right, I think we're ready to move on. Before we start the public commentary section, I'm just going to read through some notes so everyone's aware of the process. The school board of trustees recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on corporation matters. The board wants to ensure the public feels welcome and that the concerns are answered in a timely, efficient manner. The maximum time for an individual speaker is 5 minutes. The board expects personal decorum and factual information from the speaker. The president reserves the right to interrupt the speaker when the statement is too lengthy, personally directed, or abusive, or obscene, or if it interferes with the orderly conduct of this meeting. Comments recognizing the work of staff and students are always welcome. However, critical remarks concerning specific school personnel or students are to be through the complaint process available in policy 8130. School board members do not respond to public comments during the meeting. The public participant will receive a personal follow-up email from the board president within a week. And then as you come to the podium, if you'd please state your name and school district. And I think we're ready. Ms. Claypool will keep time.
Mary Ann Avery.
Good evening. I do not have specific prepared remarks. I am just speaking from my heart. I heard that the board voted to have dollar healthcare premiums for themselves, and you have the right and ability to do that. I understand. But for the last several years that I have been in Richmond, I have worked with some really great paraprofessionals, and I have lost really good paraprofessionals who have gone on to bigger and better jobs because they could get benefits. When I was here doing my student teaching, they cut back para hours so that they did not have to offer benefits. And they did $1 an hour raise or something. But our paras, especially those in applied skills, have lots of intense interactions with our students who need them the most. And I think for the board to vote $1 premium for themselves and disregard the most important staff is it's not right. I taught a book to my students a few years ago, Wonder, and I just couldn't stop thinking about one of my favorite precepts from Mr. Brown's class in the book. And he says, if you have the choice between being right or being kind, choose kind. So I ask you all to please choose kind and do right by your teachers, by your paraprofessionals, by others that are working really hard to support and educate students. And I don't deny that you all work hard too. I just feel like I could understand, here's our budget. And when the teachers were going through negotiations, I could understand, okay, there's a budget. There's only so much you could do. But this was just, I ask you to please choose kind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Emily Christian.
I am a preschool para at Vale, and I'm able to be here because I have a husband who actually makes money for our family so that we can live and survive, and I don't have to have a second job. Many of the paras that work at Vale with me have a second and sometimes third job in order to pay to support their families, to support anything. You cannot work as a parent in our school system and support your family on that salary alone. We are not offered any opportunity to have school insurance. And yet, I still get emails about the benefits that everybody else gets on a regular basis. I would just like to have the opportunity to be compensated for the amount of work that I put in and the heart that I put in every single day. And I would love for my fellow paras to have the opportunity to come to a board meeting in the evening because they are not in a second job. I feel like it's an embarrassment for RCS that any of our employees have to have a second or third job in order to survive. Thank you.
How we doing tonight? Everybody all right? I'm like Mary Ann, I'm just gonna talk off the cuff, all right? Dr. Wright, who's one of our old student teachers back in the day, and that's when we were our best. All right. For the people who don't know me, there's some board members probably don't know me. Jay Lee, I'm the vice president of the union. My background, I came here 22 years ago. I applied for one school district when I left Texas. That was right here. I've never left. Plan on retiring. All right. This is my home. This is my building. This is my corporation. This is the way I feel. All right. And I just want to talk a little bit else, some of my other background. Before I became a teacher, I was in the military. I'm a veteran. I was a first lieutenant in the Army. So I know a lot about leadership. And leadership, you lead from the front. You don't get stuff from the front. You lead from the front. When I go out to the field, we ate last. I was lucky to get a half scoop of green eggs on that piece of half toast. Because you want to make sure your troops got fed first. Same principle. We have people in this district who don't have health insurance, don't have the same opportunities. Parents, Janet, other people out there, retirees. Talk to a retiree who's going to retire from this district, who's going to pay $1,100 a month next year. And we're going to give you guys $1. I don't see why that's just not fair. All right. Leadership. I brought this out. I'm not going to bore you with it. Leadership is the process of influencing people by providing purpose, direction, and motivation. How are you motivating us to do anything better? To accomplish the mission. You're in the mission. It's up on the wall. Everybody can see it. To improve the organization. So how's your actions that we're going through tonight, that we've come up and talked, and we're here, how's that going to improve the organization? How's that going to help Mary Ann's parents? How's that going to help the retirees? How's that going to help our janitors? How's that going to help that struggling teacher who leaves at 3:30? So I know she's parked right next to me. And goes to Needlers and works every day. Oh, by the way, she's not a first-year teacher. She's been in the corporation at least 10 years. But she has to go work a second job. And she lives with her parents. So you tell me, how is that fair what we're doing? And, leaders leave. And sometimes you give up. Sure, I'm kind of portly now, but I would like to have more than just one scoop. Some of that stuff in the Army was good, but that's all you got, and you dealt with it. But you always fed your troops first, and I don't think you're doing that. And you guys know where I live. I live right over there in Credit Recovery Land. Come on over anytime you want to talk. I'm there. We can have a conversation. Thank you for your time.
Kelly McDermott.
I think you know me. Kelly McDermott, I'm the REA president. On March the 16th, the board voted unanimously to provide its members with the same health insurance coverage that employees who are eligible receive at the premium rate of $1 per year. Based upon the resolution passed by the board that evening, board members can now elect to receive the same health insurance that eligible RCS employees who took a $20 per pay increase on January 1st had. The difference being that the board members pay $1 per year as their premium amount. Richmond Community Schools pays the remainder of the premium cost for the board members who elect to enroll in the group health insurance plan. That means that depending upon the plan type selected by a board member, RCS pays anywhere from $8,831.16 to $22,308.48 per year for each board member who elects a traditional plan, while the board member pays $1. For the high deductible plan, RCS pays anywhere from $7,482.36 to $20,035.56 per year, while the board member pays $1 per year, again, depending upon the plan type elected. On April 13th, the board members heard the first reading of the change necessitated by the resolution of March 16th to RCS Bylaw 144.1. The language previously stated that board members can elect to participate in the group health insurance plan by paying, and I quote, amounts annually established by the insurance trust for all employees, end quote. Put simply, you pay what we pay. The resolution of March 16th necessitates that language, effectively ensuring that the board bears the same costs as its employees must, as Jaylee referenced, must be removed and changed to reflect the new rate of $1 per year. The new language for the RCS bylaws provides not only health insurance for board members at the cost of $1 a year, but does the same for dental, vision, and life. The March 16th resolution states that board members have the option of receiving a $2,000 per year stipend, or they can elect the health insurance coverage at $1 a year. So board members can now elect to receive full health, dental, vision, and life insurance coverage for $4 a year. If a board member elects to enroll in the group insurance plan, the total premium cost to the corporation for each board member will range somewhere between that $7,000 and $22,000 that I previously referenced. The attendance of the teachers at this meeting, the phone calls I've received, the text messages, and the emails in the last few weeks testify to the fact that the $4 per year premium that board members can elect to take isn't the same deal that administrators, certified employees, and eligible classified employees receive. In fact, effective January 1st, employees in the group health insurance plan got hit with a $480 per year increase in their health insurance premiums. That's $20 a pay. $480 is a heck of a lot of money when you're at the low end of the compensation table, or when you have significant financial burdens. That $480 increase for this year has created additional hardship in a year that, for a variety of reasons, has seen inflation far outpacing compensation. Since the board voted on the resolution, I've engaged in an effort to communicate the concerns of the association on that issue. There's a problematic disconnect between the board's decision and the concerns of the board's employees. This isn't just an association issue. This is an RCS employee issue. Administrators, teachers, maintenance workers, custodians, all RCS employees who pay health insurance premiums are well aware of the premium rate discrepancy. You pay what we pay? Fine.
You have 1 minute.
You pay nothing. We take a premium rate increase, not so good. On Thursday, April 25th, at the direction of the executive board, I requested a meeting between the officers of REA and the executive committee of this board. On Sunday, I received a response stating that the executive committee was declining our request to meet. Needless to say, the association is disappointed that the board rejected our request to meet to discuss the issue. Lacking the ability to discuss this in a meeting between officers and the board's executive committee, our only opportunity to communicate with you is here at your public meeting. Our request to meet was an effort to sit down, to discuss, to hear, to be heard, and to try to understand why this board opted to provide themselves with insurance at $4 per year rather than continue the long-standing tradition of paying the premium rate that RCS employees pay, a practice without objection, particularly at a time when we've been repeatedly informed at the bargaining table, the corporate discussion table, and elsewhere that RCS needs to make cuts, including potentially to the number of teachers servicing our students as part of the corporation's effort
Need more
to
time,
address
Mrs.
financial
McCormick.
concerns.
Do you need more time?
Yes, please.
Okay, you can have 2 minutes.
Thank you. To be clear, we fully understand that you're well within your rights as a board to take this action. But as my parents always told me, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. This is not an issue for bargaining or corporate discussion. We know that. But with respect, REA was hoping to have an opportunity to discuss this with the board, and this change sends the wrong message to teachers and other employees about the respect, empathy, support, and yes, the sense of shared service and sacrifice that the board expects of us and should have for all RCS employees. Or it should share, with all RCS employees. The association has long held the belief that when the administration, the board, and REA engage in open, ongoing, and transparent dialogue, everybody benefits. It's unfortunate that both bodies didn't have an opportunity to discuss this prior to today. As president of the association, it's my duty to share with you that the board's action to provide themselves with essentially free health, vision, dental, and life insurance at a not insignificant cost to the corporation, when teachers have experienced a $480 rate hike, has sent shockwaves through the employee of RCS, demoralizing those who serve our mission the most every day through great sacrifice and purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. All right,
I'm old, sir. I might get up and see, and I'll move on.
moving on to item 4, consent items. Dr. Wright?
President Weber, trustees, I come before you asking for consent. Items 4.1 through 4.6. In addition, the addendum pertaining to item 4 as presented.
I motion we approve the consent items as presented with the addendum.
Motion by Brad Walton,
I'll second.
second by Jeff Slifer. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to action items, number 5, Dr. Wright.
President Weber, trustees, I ask that Mrs. Karen Scalf, our Chief Financial Officer, approach the podium and door from her seated position and present items 5.01 through 5.04 as presented.
Good evening. Tonight before you, we have donations under 5.01. This month we received 43 donations. For the most part, the majority are at the high school through various clubs and sports activities, as well as the automotive department as they prepare for their annual car show. And then Civic Hall has also received a number of donations. The BPA group has received a number of donations, and RHS Drumline has also received donations. This month, we'd like to thank our donors for $12,254.73 in donations. And it's my recommendation that we accept these donations with gratitude.
Thank you, Mrs. Scow. Happy to entertain a motion.
Motion we accept the donations at 5.01.
Motion by Brad Walton,
Second.
second by Aaron Stevens. Any questions or comments?
As usual, it's impressive to see the donations.
Yes. Anything else? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to item 5.02, Honors Hall restroom contract. Dr. Wright.
President Weber, trustees, I again ask that Mrs. Scalf come back before us to press recommendation, or I'm sorry, approval of item 5.2 as presented. Mrs. Scalf.
Okay, before you tonight is the contract with J.G. Bowers for the RHS Honors Hall restroom update. We did award this bid at the March. Well, we opened March 18th. We opened the bids. We awarded April 13th, 2022, and proof of publication and all bid documents are on file in the business office. Tonight, it's my recommendation that the Board of School Trustees approves this contract with J.G. Bowers as it has been presented.
Thank you, Mrs. Scout. I'll make the motion by Jeff Slifer,
Second.
second by Kristen Brunton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. Under
Mrs.
5.
Scout.
Yep. Under 5.03, we have change orders. Both change orders are at RHS for the second and third floor renovations with Arcom Builders Ltd. So tonight I ask for approval of change order 23 and 24 on the RHS second and third floor renovation.
Thank you. Happy to entertain.
I'll move. We approve the change orders.
Motion by Keith Morey,
I'll second.
second by Jeff Slifer. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on, item 5.04. Is that you, Mrs. Scott?
Okay, so before you tonight is the bid for the RHS third floor flooring. We received bids on, I apologize, April 8th, 2022. And the awarding bid is with Epoxy SI LLC with a base bid of $82,575. I will note that these bids came in lower than the required bid threshold. However, we would like to prepare a contract for this because of the nature of the work. And so that will come before you at the next board meeting. We can go ahead and award this project. However, we won't necessarily be using the same payment process per se. We will use a purchase order because it does fit under that method of payment. So that's just a couple of notes. The other note is that when the contract comes to you, it will have the name Epoxy SILLC, but they are also a company under a larger name of Diversify LLC. So that will both names will be on that contract. It's just simply a matter of I don't know what the right word is. Legalese, I guess, on how they have their business registered. So we do need the other name on it for SAM.gov purposes. So tonight, with all that being said, it's my recommendation that we approve the RHS corridor flooring replacements and award it to Epoxy SI LLC.
Thank you.
I'll motion that we approve 5.04.
Motion by Brad Walton,
Second.
second by Kristen Brunton. Any questions or comments? Mr. Schleifer.
But we're still carrying the bid bond on it, or we're
A
not?
bid bond is not required because it's under the bid threshold. Mhm.
So even though we have a contract, we're not requiring them to have a bid bond. Okay.
Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to item 5.05, summer athletic camps. Dr. Wright.
President Weber, this evening we come before you to turn your attention either virtually and or if you have hard copies. The attached are the RHS Summer Athletic Camp flyer and applications for 2022. The applications have gone through the appropriate review process, and we are recommending that the Board of Trustees approve the camps as presented. And we definitely appreciate you all's consideration.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I would approve 5.05, the 2022 summer athletic camp presentation.
Motion by Aaron Stevens,
Second.
second by Nicole Stoltz. Any questions or comments?
I'm just glad that we can offer our students these opportunities.
Are there forms of assistance? If I'm sitting here and I'm like, my kid wants to do particularly the cheerleading camp, seems a lot higher than the others, but any of them, soccer camp, who would I?
In the past, I believe the teams have handled that. I don't know that there's an official. And I do not know about cheerleading, but I know from soccer and some of those things that people were not able to pay, or that was not a hindrance.
Just let us know, please, if there's somebody who can't, but we can help sponsor or so. Please.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to policy review and update. Item 6.01, bylaw 0167.3, public participation at board meetings, second reading and approval.
I motion we approve 6.01, bylaw 0167.3, public participation at board meetings.
Thank you. Motion by Brad Walton,
I'll second.
second by Nicole Stoltz. Any questions or comments? I'll just add, there's been some changes to the public commentary laws at the state level, and we feel at this time our current policy is within those changes and fits, and so we're not making any additional changes. But we are aware that some districts have offered their have altered their changes, in some ways more restrictive, i.e. that a comment would have to be regarding a action item. We've taken where we allow open comment pretty much, or in my experience on the board, and we will continue to do so.
Just also, I think Mr. Cross spoke to this at the last meeting, but if there are specific things that we are voting on, is that accurate? Or as long as it's in the agenda, that we would,
I believe that your present practice complies with
Yeah.
certainly the spirit, and I think the letter of the two new pieces of legislation that were going to affect July 1. So
Okay.
I think there was a little bit of editing, cleanup. I think we indicated at one time we had 2 public commentary sessions. Now
Yes.
we're down to 1. Or now we're just indicating the board will provide for public commentary. And the statute allows the board to do a lot of creation of regulations and rules and what have you. I think this is a fairly loose knit, if you will, policy that's flexible and allows the board and president, in the first instance, as the chair of the meeting, to have a little flexibility in administering it. So I'm comfortable that your existing policy is modified will meet those requirements.
thank you.
But to answer your direct question, I would recommend that if a matter was not on the agenda and was added by addendum, that may be something that you want to call to the attention of the public before the public commentary is entertained. I think that meets, again, the spirit of the law.
But it doesn't affect the public hearing part. That still is required on all the different.
Right. For the things that we have, like when we stop the meeting and open a new meeting for public comment. Yeah.
Public
Yeah.
hearing, a public
None of that's
hearing
changed.
Yeah.
are their own creatures of statute.
Right.
Contract reviews, certain contracts, and
Yeah.
then with the return to in-person learning required, had a public commentary piece that was special to that.
As well as like, what are bond issues and stuff that we were doing.
Pretty frequent.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to item 6.02, bylaws 0144.1, compensation, second reading and approval.
I'll make the motion that we approve it.
Motion by Jeff Schleifer,
I'll second.
second by Brad Walton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to item 6.03, policy 6460, conservation of natural resources and materials, first reading. And we also have item 6.04, policy 7453, control of non-casual contact communicable diseases, first reading. I would be happy to entertain a motion to bundle both those.
I'll motion that we bundle policy 6460 and policy 7453 and move into second reading.
Motion by Brad Walton,
Second.
second by Aaron Stevens. Any questions or comments on those policies first reading?
Yes, in regards to the conservation of natural and material resources, it's talking about, we will ensure proper recycling of reusable material. I would love to revisit the conversation that we had when we were looking into chart wells. It's been a while now, and this was pre-COVID, I realize. And we were looking at some ways that we could, have more sustainable practices and implement those in our schools. And so I personally would love to get chart wells back in here and say, okay, what can we be doing? So I don't know what we need to do to get that on the docket, so to speak, but.
I might just have a brief conversation about this because we just went through an audit
Okay.
and some of it is not allowable anymore.
Okay.
Because there's some rules on portion sizes and you can't always get some of it in the type of serving
Okay.
areas that we would necessarily prefer. Now, we do use paper wherever possible that can be recycled. The other thing is some of it has to be economically available for us. And so I know this just because we just had the conversation with the state.
Okay.
And it was something that we are going to have to make some other changes that are going to go backward from what we want to do, simply because the state is requiring it. And that's at schools across the entire state. So I know that there will be additional things you want that we may not be able to do, but we're happy to like have them in and have that conversation. But I do know that that actually came up in our audit.
Okay.
And it was a concern that I don't know that we're going to be able to meet everything that we want to.
Well, I'd like to at least just see what options are
Yeah.
available, see what,
Well, and they can
Yeah,
tell
see
you
what
what
we
they're
can.
doing because they're doing a lot right now. Maybe a lot more than you know. So it's worth the conversation. But I do know they're making every effort because they know that is something and that's important to the board. It's just there are limitations on some of the things that work for us at the time.
right.
I would say even beyond the chart wells, I mean, just in our schools, there's plastics, there's especially in the upper grades, cans and things, just being able to recycle those would be nice future to head toward.
Well, at least the city is now collecting cardboard, so it'd be nice to be able to do that as well. I know it is.
Yeah, we'll take it out to the landfill and combine it with all the other trash.
I don't know about that. But
Cardboard's pretty recyclable.
It might be good just to kind of take a look at this, you know, and see what can we be doing better.
I guess that I might like to see that added to the facilities working group agenda. And then they could maybe meet with Chartwells and then on that also, but also see if there's some other stakeholders or I mean, I know they have a full agenda, but I think if we could get that as a line item and at least have a discussion about what are some of our options.
And it may be that just, you know, each school individually, okay, what would be some sustainability practices that we could put in place here at this school? And what about here at this school? And just take them one by one, and just start the dialogue basically. So
I think that's, especially with the policy up, I think that's perfect time. Anything else? Other questions or comments? Right, hearing none. All those in favor of moving these policies forward, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. And moving on to board discussion and reports. I'll open the floor. Yeah.
No, I just, we've had a lot of working group meetings lately, facilities, finance for myself,
Education.
education, and it's the process is, we're all learning, I think it's going to work out well. Like today, we had a presentation from engineering architect in our facilities group that is, it's given us the topics to drive towards other groups, to get a more collaborative approach to the project. And so I'm kind of excited about the direction of how that's going. And I think we're all going to fumble right now as we try to develop our process. And as anytime a process changes, there's always some hiccups in it. But it's interesting because I think as a board, and I hope it helps the administrators as well, but I think it's going to help tie a lot of stuff together for us, knowing how one impacts the other. And so much of that stuff requires so much detail. I think it's nice that we could help dive into that detail outside of the board. I mean, I can remember we used to have 4-hour board meetings because we'd start on a topic and we would talk about it for 2 hours. I just appreciate Dr. Wright getting started. We have, it's been probably about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we've been really trying to kick it in. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and for the public, the working groups typically are meeting monthly now. We had 3 meetings this week. I was part of the educational, and they kind of spent the day focused on kind of working on refining the charge for the magnet project, if you will. If we do a STEAM or STEM type program in the Hibbert building, and so that was I thought a good use of time, and kind of the more we can define that charge I think the better result we'll have. I was also spent a day with Jeff on the finance committee, and not only looking at future financial impacts, but also kind of having a little stronger plan together as far as what we need our financial picture to look like in the next 10 years. And so I think our work there will pay dividends down the road. So anything else on board reports? All right, moving on to preview of upcoming meeting and events. Dr. Wright.
President Weber, trustees, definitely encourage you all and our public to visit our website to learn of the extracurricular options of observance, not only performing arts, but also athletics. However, next Tuesday, May 3rd, there at Civic Hall, we will be conducting our annual celebration of excellence, in which we identify the amazing talent of our faculty and staff throughout the district, as well as our administrative team members and those who have selflessly served throughout the course of this year in phenomenal roles. And so that is next Tuesday there at Civic Hall. Our next board meeting will indeed be 2 weeks from today, Wednesday, May the 11th, 5:30, right here at the
Dr. Wright, do you have a bell ringer for us?
I do indeed. Yesterday, I mean, there's so many different things I always highlight, especially when I'm able to cruise through our district and see the tremendous work that's put in by all involved. But yesterday, I'm walking through Richmond High School, and unfortunately, as was mentioned earlier by Mr. Lee, I am not walking around the high school with the same hairstyle or weight that I once had in '97. Nevertheless, I'm walking through, and Mrs. Sarah Hawley and Stephanie Stout, who are two very talented, amazing science teachers, had stopped and asked if I wanted to see something cool. Being that I've always tried to be cool, I said, hey, if you're cool, then I'm cool. If you have something cool, show me. And so they took me into their Project Lead the Way metal detectives, of course, there at the end of the hall. And Mrs. Hawley and Mr. Stout just poured into me their passion for the content that they were exposing our students to. And the first thing I thought about was, wow, this would have been great to have had when I was in school. Not sure if I would have had the cerebral cortex to follow along at that time, but of what they were sharing and exposing just spoke volumes to the power of engaged, involved educators and the tools that they indeed have to extract the utmost potential of our students. And so they then started to talk about the passion that students have and the interest, the engagement. I saw in the classroom the lab jackets and the physician's coats that the students have embroidered, and just the ownership and the synergy that was in that classroom. Again, it really spoke volumes. And so I, again, could go into so many different stories throughout the district, but amazing things occurring, and we'll definitely continue to chip away and work hard to get better each and every day. And so with that, I conclude the building.
All right. Yeah, I think they do. High school does some amazing stuff. I was at baseball and softball recently, and it's just nice to have the spring.
Well, and of what I recall, I apologize, there was testing to find out how best to serve those with heart conditions. They were testing blood, and so I tried to donate my blood, but they didn't have the tools at that time to take it. So maybe.
No one had a knife?
Meeting adjourned.